Good afternoon or good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wonderware InduSoft Web Studio version 8.0 webinar. My name is Fabio Terezinho, and I'm very excited to present the webinar about InduSoft Web Studio version 8.0. I've been with the company for more than 15 years, and this is an extremely important milestone in the history of InduSoft. So I would like to start the presentation with a big thank you to every one of you and for being our partners, our customers, our system integrators, distributors, OEMs, all the stakeholders involved with the company, because it's because of you that we're able to have more than 15 years of innovation, collaboration, evolution, and a success that we share with each one of you, with our customers, integrators, partners in general. So we truly believe that together we are stronger. We got to this point thanks to your help as well, and I'd like to share this important milestone in version 8.0 with major enhancements, new technologies, exciting news in the product with all of you, and thank you again for your continued support and cooperation. With that, the agenda is pretty much initially a brief introduction to reaffirm the vision of InduSoft for the product and customer service. Then we'll cut to the chase and talk about the main enhancements, what is new in InduSoft Web Studio version 8. Then we'll talk about some recent enhancements that were available before version 8, but are new enough and are consolidated in version 8, so it's worth at least mentioning them so you know they are available in the product and fully available in version 8. And then we'll have a sneak peek about what's next, a summary of some items in our roadmap, so you know what to expect after version 8, because in the InduSoft Web Studio version 8 is a starting point, is a reference point, and then in subsequent weeks, months, you'll see patches and service packs with new enhancements and features that will be available to everybody running in the InduSoft Web Studio version 8. Finally, we will open for Q&A. So if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to write them either in the Q&A box or in the chat box, which is available on the bar on the top of your monitor, the WebEx bar on the top of your monitor. With that, let's get started with the introduction. So the value proposition for InduSoft remains the same, and we just want to reemphasize that. We offer a comprehensive, full-featured HMI SCADA software with an open architecture, which is easy to use with an integrated development environment to increase your ROI and protect the investment when you design solutions with our products. So in a nutshell, InduSoft Web Studio, even in version 8, remains as a single integrated development environment, and all the tools to design the application, develop, QA, troubleshoot, test, analyze, everything is available in a single integrated environment, which makes it easy for you to design the applications and save time when you are evolving your projects. We keep 100% of compatibility with applications created in previous versions to protect your investment, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in upcoming slides. And since we are a software team, regardless of being part of the Schneider Electric group, where we still work pretty much as an independent software team, our goal is not to lock you on any hardware solution, hardware platform. It's exactly the opposite. It's to provide an open solution, a very portable and interoperable solution, which allows you to acquire any data through any network, and more than ever, display this information on any device where the information needs to be consumed. Be it a computer, a kiosk, a local HMI, a tablet, a PDA, a cell phone, you name it. So we are creating the product and evolving the product in a direction to make it even more open and keep up with new technologies, new gadgets, new devices, and new requirements for a visualization and management solution. With that, we'll talk specifically about the major enhancements in version 8.0. And there are literally hundreds of new items available in InduSoft Web Studio 8.0. So after you install the product, we recommend you to check the release notes under the help shortcut on the ribbon interface. So for sake of time, we'll focus here only on the major enhancements in version 8, some of the major enhancements, which are pretty much summarized here. First, support for multiple documents interface in the Studio mobile access. So MDI is pretty much the ability for you to open more than one screen at the same time on the Studio mobile access SMA thin client, which is based on HTML5. So when you use the SMA thin client solution from InduSoft to visualize the screens on iPads, iPhones, Android devices, any browser that supports HTML5, even Windows, now you can visualize more than one screen at the same time. Could be groups of screens, dialogues, pop-ups, and we'll talk about that in more details. And I will also demonstrate how the feature works. We are excited also to announce the release of IoT View, which is a new runtime edition for InduSoft Web Studio for Linux and VxWorks. So the source code is actually platform agnostic, can be compiled for virtually any platform. In InduSoft Web Studio, it has been compiled for both Linux and VxWorks, which are popular platforms, operating systems on embedded devices. And IoT View is the first runtime edition for InduSoft Web Studio for non-Windows platforms. But the development environment remains the same. So I'll talk in more details in a few slides here, but we keep our philosophy that you have one development environment, you design the applications in the same IDE, in the same development tool, and then you can deploy your application to different runtime editions, and IoT View is one more that we have available in version 8. OPC redundancy, so it's a very elegant, powerful, and easy to use interface to configure OPC redundancy, available for the OPC UA and OPC XML DA interfaces from InduSoft Web Studio, an item that has been requested by several customers, especially on the SCADA applications. Collaboration server, we have the collaboration server available in the product for a while, but in version 8, it has been substantially enhanced in reliability, performance, and functionality, and I'll talk about the details in a few minutes. And we also have several items in the continuous improvements in security, performance, reliability in the product that we keep evolving the product based on your feedback, your requirements, not to mention some other major items that we'll talk in details in the following slides. So first about the MDI for the SMA thin clients, multiple documents interfaces for Studio mobile access. First, a brief introduction to position SMA for the ones that are not very familiar with it. InduSoft Web Studio was designed in a way that you can run the application in a runtime station, but access the graphical interface, the screens, to visualize information or even change set points and commands, not only locally, but also remotely from stations where you do not have to install the product, nor the application, nor the license. And those remote stations are what we call thin clients of InduSoft runtimes because you do not have to install those components there. InduSoft Web Studio version 8 supports 3 types of thin clients. Web thin clients, which is pretty much for Internet Explorer. You can open Internet Explorer in a remote PC and access your screens, your graphical interface from the web browser using an ActiveX plugin. So it's a solution for web browsers on Windows platforms. There is the Secure Viewer Thin Client, which is a small app, a simple app called Secure Viewer that you install also in Windows platforms. And then you can visualize, again, the screens or control the screens in full screen mode from those remote stations. So very useful and affordable solution to have several stations sharing the graphical screens from the same application, but with individual navigation on each one of these stations. You can also use this solution for multiple monitors, 2 or more monitors connected to the same CPU, and have the ability to navigate through the screens on each monitor individually without having to do any extra effort whatsoever in the application development. It's a built-in plug-and-play solution. And finally, we have the Studio Mobile Access, SMA, which is a solution based on HTML5, which is a standard technology. So you can open a web browser, any web browser that supports HTML5, could be Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, any browser that supports HTML5 on any platform like Windows, Android, iOS, Linux, and access your graphical screens, your graphical interfaces from this web browser. Before version 8, you could visualize one screen at a time, was a limitation that would make it hard or difficult for many of you to migrate your current applications to SMA Thin Clients or create new applications for SMA Thin Clients. And we are glad to announce that we have eliminated this limitation in version 8. So it's a major implementation, and now in version 8, you can have group of screens like the footer, the header, the home, the menus, and so on, open at the same time on the SMA Thin Client, as well as modal screens, pop-up screens, dialog screens are also fully supported on the SMA Thin Client. So just to make a quick demonstration here, I will launch InduSoft Web Studio version 8, the current internal version. So now it's launching InduSoft version 8, and from the development environment, I can run the new PC demo. And as you see in this application, you have several screens opened at the same time. If I go back to the development environment, the header here on the top is an individual screen. The menu on the left is another screen. The footer down below is another screen. And the home in the middle is a fourth screen. So we have 4 screens open here, and I can navigate back and forth to different screens, go back to home. I can open dialogues like the languages dialog here. Now, just by saving those screens as HTML, so publishing those screens, I can go to a web browser, in this case Google Chrome, and access, as you see here in the header, my startup.sg, my screen group, and the web browser using the SMA Thin Client solution opens all the screens configured in my project. I have, obviously, auto-screen scaling. So regardless of the resolution on your device, the screens will auto-scale automatically, and you can switch back and forth through different screens. You can open dialogues and move those dialogues around, use the touch screen. So full support for MDI environments readily available in the InduSoft Web Studio version 8. So next, in addition to the support for MDI interfaces, we also heard you out loud and clear on the requirements to support different web servers in addition to the Microsoft Web Server IIS. So for standard reasons, security reasons, whatever reasons, many customers would like to use a different web server. to serve pages for the InduSoft thin clients. And in version 8.0, in addition to IIS, we support any other web server that supports standard CGI interfaces, including the Apache web server, which is quite popular, not only on Linux, but in Windows as well. So SMA thin clients can use now any web server for the pages. So it's the power of choice. You decide whatever web server you want to use. And in the help documentation from the product, we have simple steps to configure each one of them. We still support Microsoft IIS. We believe it will continue being the most popular web server for InduSoft applications for SMA thin clients. But now you have the freedom and the flexibility to use different web servers if you decide to do so. So next item, major enhancements will be the release of IoT View, which is a runtime edition for non-Windows platforms, Linux, VxWorks, and others. And before demonstrating that, I just would like to take a few minutes here to explain the driving trains that made us create this runtime edition. So a few points here. So by 2020 is expected 15 times growth in machine-generated data. So there is a requirement for interoperability because all those different machines, those different devices are not necessarily talking the same protocols. They are not from the same manufacturer, obviously. So it is necessary a software, a layer that exchanges data with all those hybrid networks and devices and consolidates this data before pushing the information to the clouds, to the ERP system, or even to execute machine-to-machine communication. It is expected to have 50 times growth in stored data by 2020, so big data. And again, many companies are focusing on the analytics, the cloud-based systems, but they need a system to collect the data, manipulate the data, filter the data, and then push this data in a seamless way to the cloud system. So IoT View would be a solution for that problem as well. 85% of the devices that have communication capabilities are not connected yet. So the timing is extremely important to come with a solution because there is an opportunity of estimated $19 trillion in IoT, and the timing to provide solutions readily available is right now. So in our IoT solution, we have solutions already for the Windows platforms, regular Windows, Windows CE, and Windows Embedded, which have a strong position in industrial HMIs today, and we believe we will continue to have a strong position, and we will continue to evolve our solution for Windows. But VxWorks has nearly 40% of traditional real-time OS shipments in the embedded world, and Linux has more than 25% of market share in embedded shipments, or much more if we consider the mobile devices with Android. So Windows remains an important piece of the puzzle, but with IoT View, now we brought our solution to additional devices, additional platforms. So our solution for this scenario is a platform-agnostic runtime edition that runs on Windows, VxWorks, Linux, and in the future, additional operating systems, Android, iOS, QNX, and so on. A wrapped application configuration environment, so we are just leveraging the development environment we already have and making those applications compatible with other platforms during the runtime. A small footprint, which is a huge requirement for embedded devices. So IoT View today has roughly 3 megabytes, which is, again, a requirement for those embedded devices. Interoperability, we have a lot of know-how and assets in our technology, hundreds of communication drivers, OPC, UA, different types of OPC, links to historian, patent data technologies to exchange data with databases, ERP systems. So those all technologies that we have, that we offer in our products and are required for an IoT solution. Mobility, the ability to visualize or configure those devices using any web browser, using our SMA solution, in remote management, so you can upgrade and manage those devices remotely. In affordability, where InduSoft has always been quite successful in high volume markets, embedded markets, OEMs, and that's where we shine. And we're just continuing on this path with IoT View. So to make clear, we do have a very strong IoT solution today, where you have a development environment and you can deploy your applications on the InduSoft Web Studio full runtime, which runs on Windows 10, Windows 8, 7, and Windows Server as well. Embedded View for Windows Embedded, or CE View for Windows Embedded Compact, Windows CE. And you can deploy IoT applications or virtually any kind of HMI scaled applications with the runtime editions we have today. In version 8, we are simply adding a new runtime edition to the portfolio of runtime editions supported by InduSoft Web Studio, which is called IoT View, which is a runtime edition to run in Linux, VxWorks, but again, the source code is platform agnostic, so could be deployed and compiled for different operating systems. And the goal on this initial version and the typical targets are embedded devices, controllers, motion controllers, industrial switches, any embedded devices, small devices running Linux or VxWorks, where you want to have data acquisition, exchange data with other controllers, the local controller, remote IOs, whatever it is, push this data to remote databases, and have a rich graphical interface to configure and monitor those devices from a remote web browser. So IoT View fully supports SMA, and I'll talk in a little bit and make a demonstration about the features supported by IoT View. So it's not like we are changing our vision. Our vision from day one has been developed once, deployed anywhere. The difference is that with IoT View, we are expanding the range of devices where you can run InduSoft Web Studio runtime applications beyond the Windows environment. You can now run also on Linux and VxWorks. So those are the features supported by the current version. We support all the project tags, arrays, all tag types, classes. You can create the class tags with or without arrays. So the tags engine is fully ported to IoT View. System tags, the internal tags for date, time, username, in the security system as well in local mode, so you can create your own groups and users and configure access restrictions to your application based on the security system. The graphical interface fully supports the SMA theme clients. So you can run the IoT View in your embedded devices and access the graphical interfaces in your local browser or remote browser using the standard SMA theme client from InduSoft Web Studio. On the background tasks, we provide online alarms and trains for remote databases, so you can save and retrieve training information to external remote databases using our patent solution. Could be a remote SQL Server, Oracle, Sybase, MySQL, MDB files. Could be on the cloud, could be on premises, any way you want. In the drivers, in this first version, we are releasing the Modbus TCP driver, the ABTCP driver for Allen Bradley DF1, and the Soft PLC driver for the Soft PLC embedded PLC based on Linux, which is illustrated here in the picture, the leftmost device. And our plan is to keep adding more and more drivers to IoT View Today we have hundreds of drivers available to Windows, and making small adjustments, we'll be able to bring them to IoT View in a timely manner. So before talking about the architecture, I'll make a quick demonstration about IoT View. So I will stop the application here, and I will create a brand new project for IoT View. So I will call it Webinar Afternoon. I will select as an embedded project. I will pick a resolution here, and InduSoft will create a new project. So far it's just like any other application, as it should be. And then once the project is created, I can create a new screen. For sake of time, I'll do something quick and dirty here. So I can go to slides and add a slide to the screen, assign a tag to this slide, go to symbols again, and have a bar graph here, for instance, a tank. So it will show the value of the tag level. And for digital discrete control, I can go to pilot lights, add a light control to the screen, and create a new tag for it, for instance, light. And finally, so I can change the value of this light, add a switch, so I can toggle the state of the light on and off. So just place the switch here and assign the light tag to it. So now I can save this screen, give whatever name I want, for instance, the main screen. And if I want to make this screen available to SMA Think clients, all I have to do is publish this screen as HTML. So I can come here and save this screen as HTML. Very well. Now, so far, everything is the same for any runtime edition, including IoT View. Since IoT View does not use IIS, it's not running in a web server, in a Microsoft operating system, I just come here to web servers and check this checkbox, enable CGI, telling InduSoft, telling the application not to use Microsoft IIS as the web server, but use a CGI browser, in this case, the browser I have in my Linux device. So it's done. From the application configuration point of view, it is done, and it's the same steps you would follow for a Windows application as well. Now I have to download this application to the device. And in the real world, your device most likely will have the InduSoft components loaded in it, but if it doesn't, the manual provides all the information to install InduSoft from the scratch in the device, but the main step is to go to the InduSoft installation directory under the Redist folder, IoT View, select the platform you are using, so in this case a Linux platform, and pick here the remote agents file, and copy this file to your device by any means. Could be a USB stick, remote commands, any way you can copy this file to your embedded device if it is not there yet. For my demonstration, I'm using a Raspberry Pi running Linux here, and I'm using a VNC so you can see the desktop from my Linux device. I can open here the terminal, and if I go, previously I had created a folder called IoT View here, and if you see, I have already copied the remote agent to this directory. So now I can simply run remote agent, which in your devices most likely will be executed by default when you start the device. And as you see here, remote agent is running on the device. And that's all. Now I can go to the development environment, hit connect, type the IP address from my Linux device, hit connect. It says here connected to IoT View version 8, and this is the platform, Linux version 3.2, 22, and so on. IoT View is already installed there, but if it was not, the only thing you had to do is click the button, install system files, and we would download all the IoT runtime files to the device. And all I have to do is click now on the download button to download my application to the Linux device. So you don't need to see the device at all. Just for curiosity, I'm showing here the logs showing that all the files are being downloaded, but you can do all the management from InduSoft Web Studio on your PC. And now that all the files were synced successfully, I can simply hit run to run IoT View runtime on the device. And as you see here, all tasks started with success on the device. So it means I can open a browser on a remote station, in this case in my computer, type the IP address of the device, and the name of the screen I want to see, in this case the main screen, and the browser downloads the screen from the device, and it's a fully functional screen. I can turn the switch on and off, I can change the level. So the same screen on the same development environment for Windows applications can be downloaded now to a Linux device, VxWorks device, and you can visualize the screens locally or remotely using a web browser that supports HTML5. So back to the presentation, the architectures for IoT solutions. We used to, even before version 8, we had a solution for IoT View, and we still have running InduSoft in Windows devices, communicating with the controllers and providing data to thin clients. But now with IoT View, we have a much broader range of devices where you can actually run your HMI runtime. And more than that, you have now the possibility to run IoT View on the actual device where you run your controller, your PLC, your motion control. Most, or at least many, PLCs and motion controllers and industrial switches that you have out there use Linux or VxWorks or another embedded operating system. And now IoT View, being compatible with those platforms, allows you to technically run IoT View on those devices. And we have been talking to several hardware manufacturers to embed IoT View, our solution, in their devices. So in addition to the traditional architecture, where you have the controller in a black box and the HMI in a different device, now we could have the HMI actually running on the same device where your controller is running. And it's not in kernel mode, so it does not affect the cycle time, the reliability of the controller. It just simply runs in parallel on the same physical box. And you can visualize the graphical interface of the HMI using any remote device you want, a dummy display, a PC, a tablet, a PDA, a cell phone, whatever you want, using the HTML5 solution. And now those devices have also the capability to keep pushing data to the cloud where you do the analytics and visualize, use SMA thin clients to configure and monitor the devices. So the goals is to provide a distributed solution for distributed data acquisition, manipulation, and control in a centralized management to update and troubleshoot all those devices. And the characteristics of our solutions with all the runtime editions, including IoT View, is scalability. We have solutions for embedded devices all the way up to SCADA systems. Secure, everything we do is with security in mind, encryption, data protection, and so on. Platform agnostic, you can design the application and deploy applications created within the InduSoft Web Studio in many different platforms. And at least, but not less at all, simple, easy to configure, deploy, and maintain. So all the user-friendliness that we have in our product for Windows runtime now becomes available for different platforms as well with IoT View. So very excited to release this runtime edition. And when I talk about what's next, I'll talk a little bit about where this product is evolving in the future. OPC redundancy is another major enhancement available in version 8. So it's, again, a very easy to configure interface. available for OPC DA, XML, and OPC UA as well, and allows you to configure OPC servers redundancy and load balancing. So just to make a quick demonstration, if you go under communication here in OPC UA, you can create your connections to the OPC servers. So I'll call this one OPC server 1, endpoint OPCA. And I'll create another connection with another OPC server. So OPC server 2, endpoint OPCB. I don't have to connect necessarily to demonstrate it. So if I come here now to redundancy group, which is a new interface in version 8, you can insert what we call redundancy groups. So you can give a name to your redundancy group, so my test, for example, and you can add as many OPC server connections as you want to this group. And here you can use those controls to move up, move down, to change the order of the connections in this list. And by default, the InduSoft OPC client during the runtime will try to connect to the first one on the list. And if the first one fails for whatever reason, the OPC server goes down, the computer is powered off, the network is down, the OPC server locked or crashed, if for any reason it detects that the first OPC server is no longer available, it automatically switches to the second in the list. And if the second becomes unavailable, goes to the third in the list if there is a third, and fourth, and so on and so forth. So you can have hot standby configurations or cascading configuration as well. And if you have more than one station running OPC servers and InduSoft Web Studio, you can very easily do load balancing as well. So you could have, for instance, the HMI 1 using the OPC server 1 as the primary and OPC server 2 as the secondary, and just invert the order in the HMI number 2. So in normal conditions, the HMI number 1 will talk to the OPC server 1, and the HMI number 2 will talk to the OPC server number 2. And if any OPC server fails, both HMIs will talk with the OPC server that is still available. So extremely simple to configure, very powerful, and readily available in version 8. It's easy configuration for high reliability. We also are releasing improved library of symbols in the InduSoft Web Studio version 8, keeping the symbols we have, but adding several of new enhanced symbols, anything from motors to pipes to pumps to tanks to valves, and many others. So all those new symbols that go along with the product will be available free of charge in version 8. So if you have any license for InduSoft Web Studio version 8, you'll get all those new symbols free of charge, while most of our competitors charge for new enhanced libraries, and they are also optimized for higher performance. So we designed them in a way that they provide the functionality you need. They have a consistent look and feel, but are also optimized for higher performance. Collaboration server, as I mentioned before, is available in the product for a while. So a brief overview, the collaboration server is an add-on for InduSoft Web Studio, which allows you to use the development environment, but when you create or modify your project, you can save your project in a central server running the Microsoft Visual Studio Team Foundation server, either a server in your local network on-premise or on the cloud. Microsoft offers the Team Foundation server on the cloud as well. So you could create and save your projects on Team Foundation server. And once you do that, many different engineers with the proper authentication credentials, username and passwords, can access and work on the same project at the same time. So everything is built in and integrated to the development environment, so you don't have to learn anything new. As you open a screen to edit this screen, the other users are automatically aware that you are working on that screen if they try to modify the same screen at the same time, but they can change other screens at the same time, they can change tasks, they can change tags. So more than one engineer could work on the same project at the same time, and as you make your changes, you can upload your changes, literally just right-click and check in your changes back to the server. And Team Foundation Server keeps a track of all the changes made in the project, so built-in revision control. It says this user made those changes on this timestamp, that user made those changes in that timestamp, so you have full visibility about the changes made in the project, and you can even compare and restore previous versions of the configurations. In this version, in version 8, all this functionality is still available in this add-on with higher performance and reliability, and also with the new support for offline mode, which means that you can create and modify your projects using the Team Foundation server, using Collaboration Server, and then if you need to remove your development computer to deploy the project at the actual runtime system, to do the startup, you can do that, make the changes, if any, that you have to do during the startup. And when you bring your computer back to the network with access to the Team Foundation server, you literally press one button and we automatically merge the changes that you made during the startup back to the Team Foundation server. So now it is ready to be to provide all the functionality it had before with higher performance, and also supports the offline modes within the collaboration server in version 8.0. Windows 10, we are very pleased to say that Windows 10 has been fully QA'd and officially supported in InduSoft Web Studio version 8. So keeping the tradition from InduSoft to have a product available to all Microsoft operating systems as they become available to the market remains true, and InduSoft Web Studio version 8 supports Windows 10. Not only that, but we also keep our commitment to keep 100% of compatibility with applications created in previous versions. So you can take applications that you designed 15 years ago in version 1.0, running Windows NT, Windows 95, Windows CE version 1, and literally copy those applications and run those applications with InduSoft Web Studio version 8 on Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Server 2012, 2008, Windows Embedded 7, Windows Embedded Compact 7, 6, or 5, and now, why not, even Linux and VxWorks. So it's all about evolving the product, protecting your investment when you create solutions in the InduSoft Web Studio. In other words, we keep evolving the product, adopting completely new technologies, but we protect your investment. We do not use new technologies as an excuse to drop compatibility with applications created in previous versions of our product. Also, the last comment here, the packaging for InduSoft Web Studio has also changed. So the media where we deliver the product now is a USB stick. So no more DVDs, no more CD-ROMs. When you purchase the product, we will ship it to you in a USB stick. So it's much easier now to deploy, copy, and install the product on any PC, any notebook, any embedded device that supports a USB interface. And if it comes with the certificate of authenticity like before. And if you decide to use a hard key instead of soft key, we ship the hard key in addition to the USB stick, which has the actual installation files for the product, along with the sample applications, documentations, videos, online training, and all the other information that we use to ship with the DVD. So next topic, I would like to talk very briefly about some recent enhancements that have been consolidated in version 8. Dynamic configuration. So not only tags database built-in functions that allow you to create, modify, delete tags and all its properties. You can create alarm conditions during the runtime. You can change alarm conditions during the runtime. You can add or remove tags to be saved into the trained history interface during the runtime. You can create completely new tags. You can delete or modify any properties of those tags, change limits, change engineering units. So you can literally build or modify your tags database during the runtime using those built-in functions. And we also have a toolkit, an add-on called the Screen XML API, which allows you to create screens in a text XML file and call a simple function, import XML, to convert this XML file into a graphical binary screen during the runtime. So you can literally create your graphical screens programmatically. Those solutions allows you then to create templates that can be configured during the runtime, and it's ideal for OEMs and machine builders that use a base template but needs the ability to configure the application, customize the application during the runtime for each different machine or each different deployment. So those features are readily available, consolidated in version 8. Tag integration, most of you must know the tags integration, but the whole idea is that instead of creating the tags manually in the HMI and linking this tag manually, typing manually the name or addresses of the controller that you want to exchange data with, in the HMI, you are able to view and browse the tags or addresses from your controller and literally click on it to link them to tags on the HMI. So is what we call tags integration, creates a shared tags database between the HMI and the controller, minimizing or avoiding completely typo errors on the communication interface between the HMI and the controller. And in version 8, we support all those data sources, TwinCat from Backoff, CodeSys from 3S, RS Logics from Rockwell, Allen Bradley for the control logics, compact logics, PLCs, Schneider Unity Modbus for the Schneider tag-based PLCs, and Automation Directs for different families, Coil, Do More, and PAC 3000. Not only they are all available, but they are all enhanced as well. So we support TwinCat version 2 and version 3, CodeSys version 2 and version 3, offline configuration or online configuration, so you can browse the tags from the program file or directly from the PLC. And as you see in our roadmap, our goal is to keep evolving this tag integration interface in upcoming patches and service packs for version 8. Multi-touch has been the product for a while and obviously remains available in version 8. And if you go to YouTube and look for InduSoft Multi-Touch, there is a video that demonstrates very comprehensively all the interfaces available for multi-touch and gestures in InduSoft Web Studio. Hard keys, we support hard keys for Windows CE. We also support hard keys in this small factory form, which is quite popular for not only for runtime stations, but especially for development stations in notebooks. In the small form, you do not have to unplug the hard key to put the notebook on the case and replug again. So it makes easier not to lose the hard key, especially the development hard keys. And we also support hard keys that are storage medias as well. So the same device, the USB card or the SD card, micro SD or compact flash, is the hard key itself while being the storage media as well. So you can install CE View, Embedded View, even InduSoft Web Studio on that particular card, on that particular media, install your application there, and if you want to move this card to a different device, you are moving not only InduSoft Web Studio and the application, but the license along with it as well. So quite popular to make it easier to transfer the license along with the application from one device to another. License server allows you to have one server, one computer in the network with a hard key, and the remote stations consume licenses from this central server through the network. So the time to repair can be substantially reduced. If you have to replace one of those stations, runtime stations or development stations, you literally plug a new one within the network, and it will consume licenses from the central server. So you don't have to install and manage licenses in each one of the InduSoft stations individually. Native scripting debugging tools within the development environment with breaking points and the ability to simply move the mouse over variables and see their values when the script reached a breaking point, still available in version 8. An add-on native integration with Wonderware Historian. As most of you know, the trained task from InduSoft allows you to save data into our proprietary format or to any external SQL relational database like SQL Server, Oracle, Sybase, and so on and so forth. But now in version 8, we also offer this add-on to save or retrieve data from a remote Wonderware Historian. It has a very simple interface. You just type the IP address of the historian in the authentication information, and InduSoft Web Studio automatically saves and retrieves the data from your remote Wonderware Historian on-premise. So what's next? As I said before, InduSoft Web Studio version 8 is a starting point, but we plan several enhancements to upcoming updates to version 8, service packs and patches. So first and foremost, we'll keep evolving our SMA thin client solution. We've done a huge step in version 8 supporting MDI interface, but we are working on new enhancements already. Support for widgets for a very superficial point of view. Support for widgets will be equivalent to support for ActiveX controls, but in a non-proprietary platform. So the idea is that you'll be able to plug into your screens external controls, web pages, pie charts, bar charts, whatever it is, web controls directly on your InduSoft Web Studio screens, and have an interface to link them to your tags, to your application. But since you're using web components, not ActiveX controls, not .NET legacy controls, you would be able to visualize those widgets virtually in any platform that supports HTML5. We are also adding support to our native trained control, grid control, and alarm event control, so you'll be able to visualize and embed them inside your screens when using SMA thin client. And at this point, the SMA thin client will be virtually as functional as the web thin client, with the advantage to be platform agnostic. You can run on any browser, on any platform, and you do not have to install any plugin whatsoever on the web browser. So the installation and the troubleshooting processes are much, much simplified. IoT View will also continue to evolve, so the idea is to keep adding new tasks, new communication drivers, OPC UA, compilations for Android and iOS. So from the functionality point of view, the idea is that IoT View eventually have the same functionalities that we have in the other runtime editions whenever the technology allows that. Things like, for instance, DDE, which are specifically technologies for Microsoft platforms, would not be available in IoT View. But everything else that is native from InduSoft, the idea is to eventually make available in IoT View, keeping backward compatibility with applications that you designed in the past. Wonderware Online, very soon we'll release an add-on to allow you to save and retrieve data from the Wonderware Online, which is the Wonderware Historian on the cloud. So you'll be able, just having a username and password, an account with the Wonderware Online, you'll be able to very easily configure InduSoft to save and retrieve the data to Wonderware Online on the cloud. Cross-reference, global search, and global replace will be greatly improved in upcoming patches and service packs. Not only improve the performance for cross-reference, the goal is that the result from the cross-reference be virtually immediate, as quick as doing a query in a database, and adds capabilities on the global search and global replace, not only for tags, but for anything else in the application. Functions, even text, allow you to search and even replace pretty much any text throughout the whole application. We also intend to provide new import wizards for FactoryTalk ME and SE, as well as tag integration for Siemens TIA, supporting the Siemens S7 1500 new PLC, which is tag-based as well. Finally, we'll continue evolving the product, getting your feedback, hearing your requirements, and having continuous improvements in security, performance, and reliability. So again, version 8 has new, very functional, substantial, and exciting features and capabilities. But it will keep evolving, and whoever is already in version 8 will have a very easy migration path to add those patches and service packs and take advantages of enhancements coming down the road. So again, our goal is to keep evolving, protecting your investment in InduSoft Web Studio solutions. With that, I would like to open for Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat box or in the Q&A boxes, both of them available on the WebEx bar at the top of your monitor. So one question here, is there still a thin client install needed for Internet Explorer? So we have three solutions for thin clients. We have Web Thin Client for Internet Explorer. We have Secure Viewer Thin Client for kiosk modes on Windows platforms. And we have SMA Thin Clients based on HTML5 for Internet Explorer and any other browser, any other platform where you have a browser that supports HTML5, including Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, and the Edge browser on Windows 10. Windows 10 has two browsers, Internet Explorer and Edge, formerly known as Spartan. And the Edge browser does not support ActiveX plugins. So using the SMA Thin Client, you can visualize applications compatible with SMA Thin Clients on any one of those browsers, including the Edge, and it does not require the installation of any plugin whatsoever. So there is no installation of anything proprietary on the Thin Clients. The Web Thin Client solution remains working on Internet Explorer, even in Windows 10, but on Internet Explorer, not on Edge, and it still requires the installation of the IF symbol plugin, just like before. So as SMA evolves, and that's why we are making so much investment on the SMA, the idea is to get less and less dependent on legacy ActiveX controls or even .NET controls, gets out of legacy dependencies on Microsoft-centric technologies, and provide you an open, portable solution that you can visualize pretty much on any browser without having to install any plugin. But the Web Thin Client is still a very valid solution for many applications, and we still support them. We still evolve that solution in parallel to the SMA, and in that case, you still need to install the plugin on the Internet Explorer computer. But for SMA, you don't have to install any plugins whatsoever. Another question, what about improvements to the CAN bus drivers? We have done recently several enhancements on the CAN bus driver for both supports, can open additional messages, and supports writes that some types of writes that were not supported before. The enhanced driver will be available in version 8. and in the release notes or even in the help manual for the CAN driver, you can have a list of all the enhancements available in the CAN driver released along with InduSoft Web Studio version 8. We have many InduSoft 7.1 embedded agent HMIs in the field. Will 8.0 support changes to 7.1 projects without upgrading the targets? We'll need to keep 7.1 available for legacy support. Can InduSoft 8 and 7 coexist on the same PC? So good questions, several questions. So let's go step by step. Can InduSoft version 8 and version 7 coexist in the same computer? The answer is yes. You can install both versions. By the way, that's what I have here in my computer. I have version 6, version 7, version 8, all installed at the same time in the same computer, and you can launch each one of them as you need and manage different projects in each one of them as you need it. So you can have different versions installed at the same time in the same computer. And it was not one question, but if you upgrade the license to version 8.0, the license is good for 8.0 and to previous versions as well. Now, about compatibility, applications designed in version 7 will be fully 100% compatible with version 8. You can literally open those applications in version 8 and run in version 8. If you make changes in version 8, some changes may not work on the runtime for version 7.1, just because the 7.1 runtime was not aware of some enhancements and new features available in version 8. So as a rule of thumb, the runtime edition can be equal or newer than the development station in order to have 100% of compatibility. Whether or not you want to upgrade each one of your runtime editions to version 8, and if you want to do it at once or a few at a time, is entirely up to your internal project management. But even if you migrate to version 8, you can keep version 7 and version 8 installed at the same time on your development computer and have different versions of the project or different projects available to version 7 and to version 8. Another question is, if I bought InduSoft Web Studio version 7.1 recently, can I upgrade to InduSoft Web Studio version 8 free of charge? Good question, and as always, InduSoft gives you a grace period, so when you know there is a new version coming, you do not have to postpone your procurement. So everybody that purchased a license on or after May 1st, 2015 is eligible to a free upgrade to version 8. If you purchase licenses before May 1st, 2015, you have two options. If your license is under the annual maintenance agreement, you are also eligible to a free upgrade. You just have to request the upgrade. Or if you are not under the annual agreement, you can purchase the upgrade free, which is 60% of the new license price, no matter what is your previous license version. So you could have a version to 7.1, 7.0, 6.1, any previous versions. If you want to upgrade to version 8 and you are not under the annual maintenance program, you just pay 60% of the current license price, and then you have a chance to get in the annual maintenance program, which is just 20% of the license price per year. And if you keep up with the annual maintenance program, you remain eligible to free upgrades to newer versions in the future. Another question was about the cost to upgrade to version 8 from 7.1, so we just discussed that. So one question is, the Magellan HMI from Schneider is an embedded HMI that runs on VxWorks. Can InduSoft download the application to the embedded Magellan HMI? So technically, yes, but there are some, even though Magellan runs VxWorks, there are some components on the image that need to be opened for IoT View. So we are discussing some possibilities internally to embed IoT View in some Schneider devices. So right now, it's not readily available to the market. The Magellan is not readily available to the market with IoT View, but hopefully it will be an option in the future. Will our current USB keys be able to be upgraded to version 8, or do I need to convert or exchange the keys? Very good question. You do not have to exchange your keys. Your physical USB hard keys for version 7 are fully compatible with InduSoft Web Studio version 8. You just have to upgrade the license on your hard keys or soft keys to version 8. And you can do that remotely as well. You don't have to ship the hard keys to us. And you can do that even by yourself through our web license portal now. So as soon as you purchase a new license or an upgrade, you will receive an authentication code. So you can go to InduSoft.com under support license activation, type your activation code, the site code from your hard key or soft key, and you can get right there immediately the site key to upgrade or install a new license. So the short answer is no. You do not have to ship your USB hard key to upgrade it to version 8. Another question is, using collaboration server require individual accessing the project to have development license? Not sure I understood the question, but in order to use the collaboration server, you need to have an InduSoft Web Studio development license and an InduSoft collaboration server add-on enabled in your development license. So it's the same product. You don't have to install anything extra. You just have to purchase the collaboration server add-on for each development station, and then we will change your development license to support the collaboration server. So it's simply a license change. You don't have to change InduSoft Web Studio, and you do not have to change your application at all. In any application whatsoever created in InduSoft Web Studio version 8 or migrated to InduSoft Web Studio version 8 supports the collaboration server add-on. Another question, will the .NET framework be upgraded in version 8? Support for .NET Framework 4.0. We said do not want to rely on legacy technology. So this is a valid question. So in version 8, we focused our development in non-legacy technologies like ActiveX controls, .NET, not necessarily legacy, but somehow proprietary to Microsoft. So obviously the focus was on HTML5 and different technologies that allow you to run applications and use widgets on Windows, but also in different platforms, in different browsers. Doesn't mean that we are not supporting .NET controls or .NET platforms anymore. We are, very much so. In version 8, we're still using the .NET Framework 3.5.1, just like in version 7.1. If you do need support for the .NET Framework 4.0, we will seriously consider that in our roadmap. I would just ask you to reach us out at info@indusoft.com or requirements@indusoft.com so we can understand a little bit better the business proposition and even find out if the short solution or the best solution, the most suitable solution would be to keep using .NET controls or even migrate at once to something that's more platform independent. But the short answer is InduSoft Web Studio version 8.0. We still support .NET controls, just like in previous versions, based on the .NET Framework 3.5.1. So, are the new CAN drivers going to be faster than the current drivers? How long before they would be released? So the new CAN drivers, the feedback I got from some tests is that in specific conditions, yes, they provide more functionality and better performance. I'm not sure about your architecture, if you take advantage or not of that. But they do provide high performance today for a non-deterministic runtime like InduSoft Web Studio. And version 8, talking about target date to release, our goal is to have a release candidate to our beta testers available as soon as next week. In August 14 is the target date when we plan to make the official release available to the general market, with a fallback date of August 28th in case the final QA tests report and the beta testers report any unknown issue that requires more time to be addressed. So in a nutshell, on August, we will have InduSoft Web Studio version 8 released with all the updated drivers along with it. So another question is there a cost to upgrade runtime and license from 7.1 to version 8.0? Yes, the rule for runtime licenses and for development licenses is the same. If you are under the annual maintenance agreement, or if you purchase licenses after on or after May 1st, 2015, you are eligible to free upgrades. If otherwise, you can upgrade the license paying only the upgrade fee, which is 60% of a new runtime license for the number of tags that you need. So another question is if the updated CAN driver will be compatible with 7.1 or only version 8. We keep evolving our drivers where by design the drivers should remain compatible with previous versions, but we keep QAing the drivers only in newer versions. So the new CAN driver has been QA'd only on version 8, but by design it should support previous versions, including version 7.1. So a few nice comments here. Let's see a few other questions. Good, some excitement there. Thank you. How do you become a beta tester? If you want to become a beta tester for this version and upcoming versions, please send an email to requirements@indusoft.com or to info@indusoft.com asking to be included in the beta tester list. We're going to analyze your request and follow up with you shortly. So one question here is, can I use an upgraded license to version 8.0 on InduSoft Web Studio version 7? The answer is yes. So if you upgrade your hard key to version 8, that hard key is now good for version 8 and previous versions that support that particular physical hard key, including version 7.1, 7.0, even 6.1. Let's see. With that, I believe we covered all the questions so far. So just a few contact information for InduSoft. This information is available on the web browser as well. We'll be more than happy to hear from you, your feedback, and if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, they are more than welcome. And with that, I'd like once again to thank each and every one of you for your support. This project is a result of all of you and us working together, technically, commercially, and we are very excited and very proud to get where we are. And again, thank you, because we would not be here without your support, your cooperation. So thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and have a great evening or a great day, and hope to see you again in the next InduSoft webinar. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.